in the voice that I directed in 2020, we started working with a system called CuePilot, which is basically an editing system, which you can hook up to your switcher in the control room, and you can program your cut sequence. And when your music starts playing from the band or from the playback, from the track that the artist will sing over, it will sync up automatically with the time code and then control the switcher and cut everything automatically. So you can have your camera operators watch an iPad or a phone, and they will get like all the cues visually, and the AD can just read out the cues. I mean, it simplifies life a lot. It's definitely, it's a learning curve and getting used to work with it. And from then, there's been other systems. There's a live edit system, which is similar to that, and you ADs can use it basically to write down all the cues. So everything that we're talking about, like camera cues, camera moves, stage entrances, pyro cues, video cues, anything, you can put it on the timeline, sync it up, and when the music starts playing, it will scroll and you will see it as like a visual timeline. And whether it controls the switcher or not, that's a hardware decision that you can connect the computer to it or not. But with just regular having it, it's like reading like partiture. You're seeing it like on the screen, like as if it was Guitar Hero, and the lines are scrolling, and you're seeing, like a big note coming up, and it's like coming down the screen, and it's scrolling down. So
the first thing that popped into my head when you said that. I was like, oh, Guitar Hero.
Exactly. It's like Guitar Hero. So you're just basically like seeing like this Guitar Hero timeline, and I had this AD in Spain that he was very techie, like I am, and he got into the truck, pulled out his laptop, connected, asked the truck engineer to give him a converter for HDMI to SDI to connect his laptop to the multi-view screen, to the big screens where I have all my cameras, and he put his laptop there, and then he had the software there, so you could see, I could see that timeline. And then he also built this ChatGPT script with a back timer. So he told ChatGPT, like, our show starts at 8 p.m. We're going to be a 3-hour show and this and that. And so then there was like a big timer scrod that had said like time to show, time from show, how much time we're into the show, how much time is left for the show, And it was like this,
it's like nerd stats right there, like so many nerd stats.
But I'm sure it's like what you said, it's like they're playing it live. So even if you have those cues, they might be a couple seconds off. You still have to.
He would sync it up, like every song. He had like the whole show built like with different like cues, So it was just like next song, he would just like hit the next cue and it would start over and sync up.
Great way to use it as
But
a
like
tool.
when the machine is actually live cutting, it's great because like you kind of have a pre-programmed determined like thing, but the cameras still need to be there, right?
Yeah, they need to be there. Like the crazy thing about it is that what you do is you record your program of what you've done during rehearsals, and you record your multi-view. So like your
ISOs
12 cameras, your ISOs. It's like usually like a little grid, and it's if you've got 9 cameras, it'll be like a 3x3. If you got 12, a 4x4, or whatever have you. And you'll take home that multi and you'll sync it up with your timeline. You'll see it. So you edit it when you're there and you're like, oh, you know what? I missed that dance move or I missed that guy that was like hitting that note.
Yeah.
And so you'll go there. I'll punch in camera 2 there. So then the next day when you go and it starts playing, it'll like boop and it'll be corrected, And so you can fine tune, edit, and do things like as an editor, as my background, as I said, where you have your, those editing skills, you can definitely, edit, tweak, and fine tune your live cut that you can do live to perfection. It could be to the frame, to the beat. Sometimes it seems a little bit too perfect, and some people might argue, that there's still like this live feeling when you cut things live, that is a little bit different. And to be fair to the software, there is like this override system where, the program cuts automatically when you're in an auxiliary bin, but when the switcher overrides and switches a camera, it takes over. So when I'm doing the voice, you know, I've got the main cut, which is basically the performance, but I'm always on the lookout for reaction shots from the coaches. So they're singing and there's a great reaction shot, I'll override the system, you know, and punch in a camera. So that's somewhere where you can, like, you know, take control and and take it off autopilot, you know, and punch in. But there definitely is, like, sometimes when you do something in rehearsals, you know, it's all programmed and it's all perfect, you know, but then you're doing it live and there's a special kind of energy, you know, and then you maybe feel it somewhere different, or you want to hang in on that, you know, close-up shot a little bit more, you know, just because there's more, you know, energy in that. So, I mean, it's software, it's great. It's there to help you, and definitely you can perfect things, and it'll make your life, you know, simpler if you've got 20 different performances and you want them all to be perfect and to come out the way that you rehearse them. And other times, you know, you can direct 8 hours on end in a festival, like, you know, I did in Coca-Cola, or I also did another hip hop festival, Rolling Loud, where I was there directing one of the stages, where you just, you know, you've never heard the artist, you've never heard the song before.
It's gotta be harder.
You just gotta feel it.
Yeah, you just kind of feel it. You just kind of go with the flow.